Hey guys, I'm Avish. This is the 16th video of .NET MAUI with Syncfusion control series. Let's quickly review our previous session before we get started. In the previous session, we focused on learning the Syncfusion scheduler control, and we have understood the resource view feature of the scheduler control using timeline view. We have also explored the drag and drop feature, and we have experimented using different scheduler types such as Hijri, Korean, Taiwan, Thai calendars. We have added background colors to the events to distinguish the availability. Please refer to the previous sessions before proceeding. In this session, we will focus on the Syncfusion calendar control, which comes with a variety of features that make it versatile and customizable for different application requirements. Some of its key features include date selection, where users can easily select dates from the calendar interface, providing a smooth and intuitive experience. Date navigation. The calendar allows users to navigate through different months and years, making it convenient to select dates from various time frames. Date range selection. Users can select date ranges using the Syncfusion calendar control, allowing for the selection of a start and end date within a specific range. Developers can customize the appearance and behavior of the calendar control to match the overall theme and design of their applications. The Syncfusion calendar control offers support for different languages and cultures, ensuring the users worldwide can interact with the calendar in their preferred language and format. We will explore these calendar features in a moment. Along with the calendar control, we will also explore the rest of the layout control options such as pop-ups, expander, and accordion controls. The pop-up control is used to display content that appears on top of the current screen, usually in response to user actions or events. It can be employed for various reasons, including displaying notifications, tooltips, or custom dialog boxes. Syncfusion pop-up control provides some important key features such as model and model-less pop-ups. The pop-up control support both model and model-less behaviors. Model pop-ups require users to interact with the pop-up before returning to the main application, while model-less pop-ups allow users to interact with the main application without closing the pop-up. You can also customize the content of the pop-up control by embedding various types of content, including text, images, forms, or other user interface elements. Syncfusion Pop-up provides support for animation effects, allowing you to add visually appealing transitions when the pop-up appears or disappears. You can also control the position and size of the pop-up control on the screen, ensuring that it appears exactly where you want it to and in the appropriate dimensions for the content being displayed. The pop-up control allows you to handle user interaction and events such as clicks, touches, or other custom actions, enabling you to create interactive and responsive pop-ups. Syncfusion Accordion control is used to manage content in a collapsible vertical stack. It allows you to organize information effectively by displaying collapsible content panels, often used to present information in a structured and easily navigable format. Using the accordion control, you can create multiple panels within the accordion control, each containing its own content that can be expanded or collapsed independently. This feature enables you to organize and present a large amount of information in a space efficient manner. You can also apply animation effects to an accordion control, providing smooth transitions while panels expand or collapse, enhancing the user experience and improving the overall visual appeal of your application. Syncfusion Accordion is designed to be responsive, ensuring that it adapts well to different screen sizes and devices, providing a consistent user experience across various platforms. Syncfusion Expander control is similar to an accordion, but usually involves only one section of content expanding or collapsing. It allows users to expand or collapse a section of content with a toggle functionality, which is often triggered by a click or tap event. Some expanders incorporate animation effects to provide smooth transitions when expanding or collapsing the content section, creating a more visually appealing user experience. Now you might be wondering when to use calendar and scheduler. Syncfusion provides both calendar and scheduler controls as part of its comprehensive suite of UI components for building modern applications. While both controls are related to time management and scheduling, they serve different purposes and have distinct functionalities. Let's take a look at them. The calendar control is primarily used for date selection and display. It allows users to view dates, navigate through different months and years, and select specific dates for various purposes within the application. The scheduler controller is designed for managing and displaying events, appointments, and tasks in a time-based view. It provides a comprehensive interface for users to view, create, edit, and manage scheduled activities within a specific time frame. Key features of the calendar control include date navigation, date selection, customizable views, and support for different date formats and cultures. Key features of the scheduler control include day, week, work week, and month views, recurring appointments, resource scheduling, drag and drop functionality, and support for various customization options. The calendar control is suitable for scenarios where the primary focus is on selecting dates and managing date related operations such as scheduling appointments or events. The scheduler control is ideal for applications that require advanced scheduling capabilities such as project management systems, employee schedule applications, or any software that involves managing time-based activities and resources. Now, when choosing between the Syncfusion calendar and scheduler controls, it is essential to consider the specific requirements of your application. If your application primarily deals with date selection and basic time management, I recommend to use the calendar control. However, if your application involves complex scheduling scenarios and requires advanced time management functionalities, I recommend to use the scheduler control. Now that we understand the differences between both of them, let's now switch to the coding and get going. Let's add the calendar package. Right click on the project, manage NuGet packages, browse, and choose Syncfusion MAUI.calendar. I'm choosing version 22.2.5. That's the version I have installed earlier. I'll be upgrading it shortly, but for now, let's go ahead with 22.2.5. Let me install this calendar package. The package is successfully installed. Let me create a view. Right click on the view, add new item, and choose .NET MAUI content page from the .NET MAUI, and let me name this as calendar view.xaml. Now this will create the code behind file as well. Notice that we have a vertical stack layout over here with the title calendar view. Now let me go to Syncfusion toolbox and remove this label and drag and drop the SF calendar. Let me save this. Let me also switch to the Solution Explorer and open appshell.xaml, copy and paste this flyout item and name this title as calendar, and then change this to calendar as well, and the data template view would be calendar view and the route would be calendar view. Let me start the Android device manager and switch from Windows machine to Android emulators and choose Pixel 5, which is the device I have configured from the beginning of these sessions. Let's run this application and see the output. Notice that the calendar view page is up and running. Let's switch to the XAML file and add some more options to this calendar control. Let me just change this namespace for consistency. Call it as calendar.sf calendar, and let's say show today's button equal to true, which is by default disabled. The moment I do that, notice that we have the today button over here, and then let me also make show action buttons equal to true, which is by default false. Now you will notice that we have OK and cancel buttons as well for the calendar control, and it is that simple. Currently, whenever I choose a date, the selection shape is a circle. We can also change the selection shape by changing selection shape equal to either circle or rectangle. It's up to the end user's choice and requirement. I often prefer it to be a circle, so I'll keep it as a circle. By default, the calendar is displayed in month view. We have different views for the calendar similar to the scheduler, which are century, decade, month, and year. The moment you choose a century, notice that we have the calendar control displayed in a century manner from 2000 to 2099. We can also display it as decade view, and you notice it is changing from century to decade view, so as well as to year view as well, which always displays the current year and the months in the current year within the year view. Now I will keep it to the month view, and then we can also give more options such as identifier, which will be the Gregorian, Hijri, and other calendar types similar to the scheduler control. The moment I take Korean or any other calendar, notice that it is changing instantly in the device view. Now let me keep it to the regular one. Let me change that. We can also change the selection mode from single to multiple and as well as range. Let me choose a selection mode to multiple. Now the moment I switch back to the device, notice that we can select multiple dates over here. There are many other options to explore in this calendar control, such as let's say enable past dates, enable swipe selection, input transparent, a lot of those things. I will leave all of those things to you guys. and let me switch to the other feature of the calendar control. Before that, let me make the enable past dates as false so that the past dates will be disabled within the calendar component. Now, we can add a lot of customizations to this calendar control, such as adding customization at the header level. Let me do that quickly and show you that. Calendar sf calendar dot month view. Let's say within the month view we want to have the header in background as gray. How do we do that? We just need to create the month view customization similar to the scheduler control, and we need to add calendar month view, and then within that let's customize the header view option within that calendar month view dot header view. Now once this is done, within the calendar header view, let's set the background as gray and we'll add the text format as DDD, and let's close this and add few more options for the text style. Calendar month header view dot text style. We can also choose a text format, but let me use the text style over here, and then let's say calendar text style, and this is where you can add your own font size, font family and attributes. I'll keep the font size to 14 and I'll make the text color to black. Let me close this, save the XAML file and switch back. You notice that the header is gray and the text color is black. Let me change the background color to something else, which could be yellow. Notice that we have the background color as yellow. Let's now enhance this calendar control and make it as a simple booking page. Let me switch back to the code. Let me create a binding context over here. Let's say vertical stack layout dot binding context, and let me use the namespace binding with the employee layout view model. My plan is to create a booking for the employee that we have added earlier. I know we have added multiple employees, but for now I'll pick only the first employee so that we can do booking for that employee. Now once this is done, let me create that employee name and image over here. How do we do that? We will create a vertical, we already have a vertical stack layout, but I will add another vertical stack layout here, and let me bind the employee details within this. So I'll create the image of the employee image. Let me copy it from my other screen to make it faster. Now that we have imported the binding employee layout view model, I'm binding the employee data dot employee image. I'm binding the first employee image. I'll also create another employee label over here. Let's assume that employee is a doctor. Let's make it up like we are booking for a doctor. So let me create another formatted string over here and add a prefix called doctor, and I'll take that employee name. Let's assume that these are the employees for a clinic and make it as a formatted string which prefixes with doctor. Let me save this quickly and switch back to the virtual device. Notice that I have the employee image, which is Dr. Aaron, and we are trying to book an appointment for Aaron for a particular date. So let me switch and do some corrections to the calendar control. Let me add some more options to the calendar control. Let's switch to the calendar month view and say that we have something called number of visible weeks equal to 2. Let me also reduce the calendar height so that I can choose an appointment time below the calendar. So I will add height request equal to 200. Let me save this and switch back to the page. Notice that we have the calendar control with 2 weeks visible. Let me hide today and the other buttons as well. So I will make the action buttons to false, today button to false as well, so that I can add some more buttons below this and create a booking form. Under this calendar control, let's create a button which performs the action to book an appointment. So let me create a button below the calendar control after this label. Let me copy paste this and mark it as book appointment button with a width of 150. Now if I switch back, notice that there is a button under the calendar control. However, we need to choose some time slots for Dr. Aaron before booking an appointment. So let me create few buttons so that we can select the button before booking an appointment, which should be our time slot. So let me create a flex layout over here before the button. So let me call flex layout name as flex layout, and I will align the items to center with some horizontal options as center, and we will wrap those buttons. Let me close this flex layout now. Within the flex layout, let me add resources to make the styles of the button as unique. So I'll add a flex layout resources with a style targeting the button with a text value as black and background color as white. We will enhance this flex layout in such a way that whenever we choose a time slot for Dr. Aaron, the selected button color will be changed dynamically with the code behind code. So let me add few buttons over here with the time slots from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m., which is ideal time for doctors to look their patients, isn't it? So I've created few buttons from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. Let me switch back and notice that all of these seems to be like a simple text time slots which are clickable. So we now have Dr. Aaron's appointment schedule available from the calendar control. Now let me add few events for these buttons so they are selectable, and we will get a visual representation of the button selection. Once we select a date and once we select the time, we will be able to book an appointment. Let's add a clicked event for each of these buttons. So let me say clicked equal to, I will name it as slot booking change event, and let me add this event for all of these buttons. We now have the slot booking change event in the code behind. Let me add a property to store the selected time slot. I will call it as private string time slot equal to string.empty, and what I will do is I will get the selected button from the sender. Let me close this, and I will loop the flex layout to capture all the buttons and choose the selected buttons and color the selected button. So if I switch back to the XAML, we have the name of flex layout as flex layout. So I'm going to loop through each and every children of this flex layout with a for each loop. Now once we get the sender, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to loop the flex layout over here and transform this button and compare this button as pressed or unpressed button over here. Now I will typecast this child to a button, and then I will verify if the selected button is nothing but the pressed button. So whenever that happens, if the selected button matches with the sender, I'm going to change the text color from white, the background color from pretty black to the different color. I've chosen some color which is a color code of 6200 WE, and then I will capture the time slot from the selected button into this private variable. Rest of the buttons, we will retain the black as the text color and background as white. That's all. So we are trying to loop through the flex layout and choose the button which is selected over here. Let's restart the application and see how it looks. Let me click on this time slot 9 a.m. Look at that. The text color is changed as well as the background. Now this indicates that we are selecting time slots for a particular day which is in the calendar control. Now let's enhance this book appointment button to capture the booked appointment. Let's wire up the book appointment click event to simulate the appointment booking. Let me switch back to the code, stop the application and switch to the XAML file. And let me create a button clicked event, which is clicked equal to, let me choose new event handler, and let me switch back to the C# file. Notice that we now have the button clicked event. Let's now initiate the selected date value for the appointment booking control, which is our calendar control. I will choose selected date equal to datetime.now. Once this is done, let's switch back to the button click event and let me get the selected date value to a datetime object. Let me copy it from my other window to make it faster, and then let me create a date text which includes the chosen date and time from the calendar control. Let's say we are choosing today's date, which is 16th October, or we may choose next day's date. So we will get the date and time, format it and put it to the date text. Once this is done, let's build another text which will concatenate appointment booked for the date and the time slot. Once this is done, we will display the alert of the selected appointment to simulate that appointment is selected for Aaron. Once the appointment is selected, let's reset the dates back, and then we will assign the time slot to empty. Once this is done, we will loop through the flex layout children, which are the buttons, and keep the buttons to black and white again instead of the chosen color. That's all it is. We are selecting the date value from the calendar control, concatenating the date value and simulating the appointment text and showing it as a display alert. Let's run the application and see the output. Let me choose a date, choose an appointment slot and click on book appointment. Notice that we now have the display alert dialog box showing the appointment details. And once the appointment details are displayed, notice that the date is pre-selected back to current date and the slots are deselected back again. Instead of using the display alert, we can use Syncfusion's pop-up control, which is more elegant and customizable compared to the display alert pop-up. Let me show you how to achieve that. Let's stop the application, right click on the project, manage NuGet packages. Notice that I have already installed the Syncfusion MAUI pop-up and the version I have chosen is 22.2.5, which is my local version of the community edition. Now let's switch back to the XAML file and add the Syncfusion pop-up over here. Now within the Syncfusion's .NET toolbox, notice that there is an SF pop-up. We just need to drag and drop that SF pop-up after this button. Let me drag and drop this. The moment we do that, observe that it has created a namespace with pop-up. Now let's expand this pop-up and replace the display alert with this pop-up. Let's name this pop-up as appointment pop-up. Let me change all of these things and let me add few more properties related to the height and width. Let me also create a pop-up style. Let's add pop-up.sf pop-up.popup style and wrap the pop-up style with corner radius, footer background, shadow, header background and message background. It's up to you what you choose over here. Feel free to change according to your requirement. Now once this is done, let me switch back to the C# file and comment this line of code at line number 38. Instead, I would rather say appointment pop-up.show. Along with this, we will also assign the header title and message for the appointment pop-up. So let me add the header title as appointment booking and let me add the message as the text that we have created over here. Now let me run this project and notice the output. Let me choose a time slot, click on book appointment. Notice that instead of display alert, we are showing the Syncfusion pop-up dialog. Let me show you how we can customize the Syncfusion dialog by adding the data templates, header templates and footer templates. Let me switch back to the XAML file. Let me add another pop-up under this appointment pop-up. Let me call it as a notification pop-up. Once we add this pop-up, let's define the pop-up styles within this notification pop-up, similar to what we have done with the appointment pop-up. So let me create the pop-up styles with the same corner radius with footer background and header background and the message background. Once this is done, let's create a header template under the pop-up. The header template will contain the data templates. So let me create a grid under the data template and within that grid, let me define a label called a success label in the header. Now, once this is done, let me close the header template. Now the customizations can be extended to the content template as well as to the footer template as well. So let me quickly add the content template and explain you what I am doing here. So I'm going to add a content template with a vertical stack layout and within that vertical stack layout I'm going to define a label stating that the appointment has been created successfully. Now let's also add a footer template to display an OK button and we close the pop-up on clicking of the OK button. So let me copy and paste this from my other window. So we now have header template, content template and footer template. Notice that the XAML is indicating an error over here. That's because I have embedded the footer and content template within the header template. Let me move this and paste it over here just above the content template so that we have header template and we have the content template and then we have the footer template. Now let's switch back to the CS file and say notification popup.show. Now let me comment this appointment popup.show and restart the application. I click, choose a slot and book an appointment. Look at that. We have the customized pop-up message and we do have some space over here. So let's reuse this space and put Dr. Aaron's picture and his name to this pop-up so that we can utilize the customization. So let me switch back to the XAML file and within the vertical stack layout, let me add the image and the label of the doctor, which is his name. So just above this label, appointment booked successfully, let me add image and label as well. Let me close this label as it's throwing an error. Let me restart this application again. Let me also close the formatted string. Let me choose a time slot, book an appointment. Notice that we now have the customized image and the doctor's name and also the message with at header as well as in the content stating that the appointment is booked successfully. Now let's say we need to add more details about Dr. Aaron. That's because I want to know more about him before I proceed with booking. So let me add a label with a lot of details about Aaron before I book an appointment. So below this label, let me add another label which gives me more details about Dr. Aaron. Now let me switch back to the Android simulator. Notice that the details have occupied the entire device. It is very difficult to book an appointment if details are occupying the complete screen space. So what do we do here? The solution to this problem is to either add the expander or accordion. Let's switch back to the code and add the expander over here and wrap up the details as well as the profile details under that accordion so that we save some space with the expand and collapse functionality, and we'll have the booking details as well as the doctor details before proceeding further. So let me switch back to the XAML and let me stop this application again, and let me right click on the solution and go to manage NuGet package manager and add the expander. I have already added the expander over here, and expander control of Syncfusion supports both expander and accordion. So it's only one package for both of them. Now let me switch back to the XAML file of the calendar view, switch to the Syncfusion toolbox and drag and drop the expander here. Notice that it has created the header and the content as well. Now, which means I can add one header and one content to the expander. So in my case, expander doesn't work. I need to add an accordion since I have multiple items under the accordion. So let me remove this, drag and drop the accordion. Feel free to add expander as per your requirements, but for now I'm adding the Syncfusion accordion control. Now we have a header over here. Let me change the header and let me add the header as profile with font size as 20, and within the header let me add the vertical stack layout of this image. So let me move this accordion out of this vertical stack layout first, keep it outside and choose the vertical stack layout which consists of doctor's image and his name. So I'll copy this one, I'll remove this one and I'll place it under this grid. Now this is one item of accordion. So let me add another accordion item under the items. So let me expand this accordion item and add, copy this accordion item and paste this and change this to about Dr. Aaron in the second item list. So my text would be, the header text would be about Dr. Aaron. I'll remove the image and label from here and I'll only keep the description of Dr. Aaron. Similarly, on the first accordion content item, I'll remove this label which has the description. So basically we have two accordion items, the one which displays the image and name of doctor and the other one which shows us the profile of the doctor about Dr. Aaron. Now let's restart this application and see the output. Notice that the profile content item is auto expanded. Now when I expand about Dr. Aaron, the profile is automatically collapsed. Now we can toggle between either profile and about doctor, and we can look at the details of the doctor before proceeding with the appointment. With this, we have successfully learned calendar, accordion, pop-up and expander controls. In the next session, we'll focus on other Syncfusion controls. Till then, thank you for listening and have a great day.